Hey guys, I want to give you a quick review of my 2017 Specialized Sequoia. And as you can see, it's the base model. It's black, just a matte black. And I want to give you a few reasons why I bought this bike. First of all, I spent many months, like you guys do, reading, reviews and looking at all the bikes. I wanted something that was steel framed. I have never owned a steel frame bike, and I was curious about the ride quality, and I wanted a frame that was very strong so that I could do some bike packing, load it down, and just have options. So this bike, it fit the bill on everything I was looking for with the steel frame. And I have to tell you, if you've never ridden a steel frame, they are a little bit heavier. This is about a 25-pound bike, but honestly, it's so efficient. Once you get on the road or you get riding it, you really don't notice the weight. And I grew up, my cycling career for the past close to 20 years now has been on road bikes, carbon fiber, aluminum, very lightweight. And I have really found no trouble with the weight of the frame. It's just very nice ride, very compliant, just smooth. Can't say enough about the steel frame. Now, there are several models of the Sequoia. You can go to their website and get all the technical details. I just want to tell you what I think about this one and why I bought the base model. It was a great price point for me, and what you get is well worth the money. And I like a steel frame that also has a steel fork. Now, I know the more expensive models have the carbon fiber fork, and I'm sure it's a great fork. But I'm totally happy with the steel fork connected to a steel frame and how it works on this bike. Now, another reason I like it is it's loaded with brazons. As I mentioned a moment ago, you can see there on both sides of the front fork, it's got a place for 3 water bottles. I've only got 1 cage up there, as you can see, but there are 3 places, which is pretty neat for overnight riding. And on the back, you can rack it out. You can see you have places you can put a rack, put your panniers on the back, and you can really load this bike up. So I love that about it. And because it's got all the brazons and you can load it up with luggage, another reason that I was really drawn to this bike was the steel frame and the through axle. The through axles, front and back, make this bike so stable. Just a beautiful ride. And you can put a little bit of weight on it, and it's not going to be a problem at all for you. Another thing that drew me to this bike is the adventure. The whole adventure thing really intrigues me. Just to be able to get off the road and maybe not get run over out there, and I can get on some dirt roads and get away from some of the traffic. And this bike allows you to do that because the enormous tire clearance. Look at this. It is beautiful. Now this has about 60 psi in this tire, and I measured it at about 44 mil. It's advertised as 42 mil tire, but it's really a little bit bigger than that when you pump it up a little bit. So, and you see still have plenty of room in the frame. There's still room for a bigger tire or a fender or however you want to do that. So I've never ridden a bike with such wide tires, but oh my gosh, the ride quality is just beautiful. It just soaks up every bit of the road stubble. There's nothing. It's so smooth. So I love being able to run the larger tires. And honestly, you don't lose much. I always thought, well, you get a big fat tire, you'll be so freaking slow, why bother? But honestly, if I'm on pretty flat ground, I'm no triathlete or anything, but I mean, I can easily maintain about 14 miles an hour with just cruising. So it's not that slow, really. And I also bought it, the componentry on this entry-level model is the Soro. It's the lower down Shimano. That doesn't bother me one bit. It does what it's supposed to do. I don't care if something is 2 grams lighter. This bike is not about the weight. It's about just comfort and functionality. And so what I have found about the Soro Shimano components is they work. they just work. I mean, all I need it to do is change my gear. If it changes the gear, does it fine, I'm good with that, and it does exactly that. So I love the components, love the frame, love the through axle. If your components wear out, I'll probably put thousands of miles on this bike before I have to worry about that. But if I do, it's not a big deal to just replace them. Love the asymmetrical bars. A lot of people are like, I don't know about it, but honestly, it'll take you about 5 minutes to love them because it's a little bit of a raised up bar here, and it just helps with your riding position. And they kind of, they spray out just a little bit at the bottom. Love that, actually. I've gotten accustomed to it. Now, a couple of things, like I say, a lot of things about the bike I can't say enough about. It's just a wonderfully built bike, clean, good welds. It's well built. I mean, the ride quality is just the best I've ever had. But here are a couple things I did notice. A moment ago, we were talking about the incredible tire clearance, and it does have stupid tire clearance. I mean, you can put whatever kind of tire. You can run a lighter, a smaller tire or a larger tire. It gives you options to whatever kind of riding you want to do. But I don't know why in the world. I'm not a bike engineer, but I can't figure out why Specialized took the brake cable here and they run it down inside the fork, because what that does is it takes up about 1/2 inch of your clearance inside the fork there. Now, it would have been just as easy to take this cable and you could have run it on the back side of your fork all the way down to your brake and accomplished the same thing, but nope, they put it right down the center inside your fork. It's just a small little thing. It's like, well, if you want to put a big knob or something on the front, you may run into that cable a little bit. And another thing I've noticed, these have the Hayfield wheels, and I don't know how tested they are. So far, so good. I have a little over 100 miles on this bike and have not had any trouble at all. But I will say they're advertised, the wheels and the tires, to be tubeless ready. And I like tubeless ready. I like the ride quality. And so I quickly changed it out and took the tubes out, got some stands and all that. And they really don't hold well. I've worked very, very hard to get these to hold, and they just won't. I mean, about 5 or 6 hours, you're starting to lose some of your PSI in there. So if you're going for a very, very long ride, I mean, it's going to be problematic. So I have already ordered new tires. I'm going to upgrade tires. I've got other bikes that are tubeless. There are other tires that are just better quality, I think, as far as tubeless goes. And so, yeah, I'm going to be upgrading these. I hope they're here in the next day or two, because I know I can put a stop to that leakage. On that topic, one other thing I would like to share with you is, if you do a Sequoia and you want to go tubeless, you'll notice, let's see if I can get a look inside the tire here. You see that seam? There's a seam where the wheel is put together. Now, whenever you go tubeless for the very first time and you put your sealant in and you've got your tire on and you're going to try to put the air in it, that seal, that little crack's going to leak like a bitch. It's going to be, all the air is going to go out of that one place. And I had to work a little bit to get the stand sealant into that crack. I worked it around, put air in it, worked it around. Eventually, it took about 10 or 15 minutes or so, but it eventually sealed that little place where the wheel is connected, and it worked fine. I had no problems with it now. It doesn't leak there at all. But it does leak around the tires, and I think it's because the tires are the sidewalls are very thin, and it has a hard time sealing on the wheel, and that's going to be an easy fix. I'm just going to upgrade to some better tires on that. But that's been the only problem I've really had, is getting the tires to seal and run them tubeless. You might have also noticed I'm not running a stock saddle. One of the things I did early was to change the saddle, and I've never had one of these, but I bought a Brooks C17 saddle. And gosh, I can't tell you. I'm not doing a review on Brooks, but I'll just tell you, the best, most comfortable saddle that I've ever been on. Honestly, I can ride for hours and hours and hours, and it's perfectly comfortable. It's okay, and you just keep going. I will never not have a C17 on this bike. It just is that good. I don't know of anything. I don't know how you can get any better. It is just very, very comfortable to me, and I love the Brooks saddle. So I'm going to upgrade the tires so that they will seal. Put a new saddle on. Wonderful idea there. But outside of that, everything works great. It's got the mechanical disc brakes, the TRPs, 160s, and they work just fine. I mean, yeah, you've got to let them break in. I bought this bike brand new, and I brought it home. I mean, brand new. And I live where it's kind of hilly right outside of my, matter of fact, my driveway goes straight down. And these things were brand new out of the box, and I didn't think about it, but I was running about 20 miles an hour down this hill on brand new disc brakes. Let me just say that you might want to break them in a little bit before you go screaming down a hill. When you reach up and grab the brakes, they may not be there for you. This may not, they may not be seated yet and ready to stop you. So I was like, whoa, these things won't stop. But I mean, after a few miles, you put, 20 or 30 miles and you're doing it, they start to come in and they get seated real well, and they do just a fine job. So anyway, I can't recommend it enough. Just wanted to give you a little bit of a glimpse. I know there's not a lot out there on the Specialized Sequoia. It's a great bike. I think Specialized made it originally back in like the 70s or something, and this has been their revitalized new version, and my hat's off to them. It's a quality product. A few upgrades, a few tweaks like you like it. You can make it however you enjoy it. But I will promise you this, if you go with a Sequoia, you're going to get a great, great riding bike. A steel frame that'll last. You can do a lot of different things with this bike, make it your own, and you will not regret the ride quality of a Specialized Sequoia, because I certainly do not. So, good riding. Look out for the cars.